Darrell Brooks had an obsession with Sue Opper. Some believe he had an obsession with Judge Darrell, but I say no. I believe that during the course of the trial, the 3-4 weeks of the trial, Darrell Brooks began to have an obsession with Sue Opper. And I'm going to tell you why. What's going on, everyone? This is Christian Duke. You're watching Sight Sounds Flavors on YouTube, sightsoundsflavors.com. If at any point during this video you like it, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications so you won't miss a single video, and leave a comment down below. He had an obsession with Sue Opper because Sue Opper was the one person in the court that was not scared of him. He had an obsession with Sue Opper because she was the one person in the court that always, from the minute he saw her and she saw him, Sue knew it all. She knew what he was about. She knew what he was capable of. I think she might have even known what he was thinking. And she knew how to push his buttons. When Sue Opper said the defendant, I don't care what Sue says. Great explanation for the judge about how when she steps away, it sounds louder. Good on the judge to go along with it, though it seemed like the judge actually believed it. But Sue knew how to push the guy's buttons. And whether she did so conscientiously or subconsciously is for you to decide. I personally believe that when she said the defendant, it was a subconscious move on her behalf. And maybe she realized it or not, but was the intention to get the guy to lose his shit? Again, I don't know if it was consciously done or subconsciously done, but it was done for, on some level, that reason. And I think it was important because I think that Judge Darrell let this guy get away with, well, not with murder because, he's doing 800 years. But she let him get away with a lot more than any other judge. I've made the comparison to the Lorenzo case where the guy is asking for the death penalty because he wants a better quality of life. And the judge despises the defendant so much that doesn't even want to give him the death penalty so he'll have a better life, but wants to give him the death penalty because the guy deserves a death penalty. And when the defendant asks if he could address the court for 5 minutes, the judge says, well, if you could do it in less time, I'd appreciate it, or something to that effect. He didn't even want to give him 5 minutes, where Judge Darrell gave Darrell Brooks 50 minutes. And I can tell you that maybe 1/10 of the people watching the Lorenzo trial compared to 10 times watching the Darrell Brooks trial. So, to me, it's like, the whole world is watching this case. You could have employed the same hardline tactic as a judge in the Lorenzo case and said, I give you 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but no more than that. You don't give him 50 minutes. You basically gave him 50 minutes to address the world. Is that Judge Darrell bashing? I gave Judge Darrell 97. I continue to give Judge Darrell 97. If you think that me giving a judge a 97 qualifies as me bashing the judge, then, have at it. Take it to the bank. You're free to think whatever you want to think. You're free to write whatever you want to write. I'm not going to censor you. You got to be really out there for me to remove your comment from my video. But in my book, a 97's an A. You don't give A's to people you're bashing. You give D's and F's or zeros. The reality of the matter is Judge Darrell should not have given Darrell Brooks 50 minutes. And she could have stopped it minute 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 45. She could have stopped it. She didn't. She only stopped it when he started to repeat himself. Had he not repeated himself, it could have been a 70-minute speech, an 80-minute speech, a 100-minute speech. She wouldn't have stopped him. That's beyond fair. But the reality of the matter is that Sue Opper, though, she never even gave him a minute. She didn't even give him 10 seconds. The moment that he was wrong, she was on him like white on rice. Now, her fellow prosecutors as well. Zach Wichaw, I think's his name. Darrell hated him because he brought up the fact that Darrell is a sex offender, that he groomed Erika Patterson, that he beat up Erika Patterson, that he terrorized Erika Patterson. He hated him. And the other prosecutor whose name escapes me right now, she had her moments as well. But out of the three, she was the one that Darrell looked at, thought of, and probably hated the least. Then Zach, but Sue was the one that he despised. Sue was the one that if she laughed, if she smirked, if her tone changed, if she didn't look at him, if she looked away, whatever Sue did, it was on Darrell's radar. And I think that the two people that consumed Darrell Brooks's mind the most during that trial were Sue Opper and Erika Patterson. Sue Opper and Erika Patterson. Sue Opper and Erika Patterson. Not the victims, not the detectives that tricked him, because one of them he actually thought was his friend. Not the judge, not the court reporters, not the bailiffs, not even the guy that yelled at him in the back, not even the juror that he thought that had given them the bird. Sue Opper and Erika Patterson. Those two people consumed him. Not Nicholas Kirby. Sue Opper and Erika Patterson. They consumed him. The difference is he only saw Erika Patterson a handful of times. He saw Sue Opper every single day. And the times where there's a little bit of cooperation maybe on some level, even on the most trivial of procedural matters, he seems to really enjoy that. And I invite you to leave a comment if you know what I'm talking about. But there's moments where, like, maybe there's like a little bit of common ground. Maybe there's never levity, but a little bit of common ground. Maybe not the hostility, the toxicity. Just a moment in time where maybe they're not at a murder trial, at least in Darrell's mind. You know, in Sue's mind, they're always in a murder trial. And Zach's, and the other prosecutor, and the judge, and everybody in the room. But in Darrell's mind, there are moments where, hey, you know, we're just kind of like doing something. Because he's delusional. He's not insane. He doesn't have diminished capacity, but he's delusional. He's a narcissist. And there's times where I think he actually believed he was a lawyer. There's times I think he actually believed all that sovereign citizen stuff. In fact, I think a lot of the times he believed in that. Maybe it was because of hopelessness, or maybe it's because of delusion. I don't know. Maybe it's somewhere in between. Who knows? But the obsession with Sue Opper, in my opinion, is undeniable. And here we are microanalyzing little bits and pieces of the trial, because this is what we're going to be doing for the next 20, 30 years. And if it's not me, it's going to be somebody else. But I'm actually interested in all this. So that's why I talk about it. If I wasn't interested, I wouldn't talk about it. So the reality of the matter is that we're dealing with an individual that was obsessed with the prosecutor. And so much so, this may be really, you know, out of the ordinary, but, and I want to know what you think. I always want to know what you think on everything, good, bad, ugly, and in between. But I think that I wouldn't put it past Darrell Brooks in 5 years or 10 years, or maybe in 5 months or 5 days, to writing to Sue Opper, to trying to write to Sue Opper. About what, who knows? But if I'm right about the obsession, he's going to try to make contact with her on some level to maybe forgive her, because in his mind, he's the victim, right? He killed, you know, half a dozen people, injured 80, ruined the lives or really hurt the lives of hundreds, thousands, of an entire community, of an entire country. But he's the victim. In his mind, he's the victim. And if you kind of like look into Dawn's declarations, there's a lot of that, you know? Oh, my son didn't get a fair trial, you know? Or when Darrell says, you know, there's a lot of people hurting here. Or, you know, now you're going to hear the other side of the story. That's victim talk, you know? Because he thinks he's the victim. But who knows what he would say to her. But maybe I'll just send her a postcard. It's never going to get to her, I don't think. But who knows? But I think that he is as obsessed with Erika Patterson as he is with Sue Opper, and vice versa. I think that Sue Opper now is, you know, to him, in his mind, maybe responsible for where he's at. Of course, he's never going to, you know, acknowledge that he's there because of his own actions, because to suggest that would be to suggest or to contemplate that maybe at some point he would have remorse. I don't think that he will. I think he's a sociopath. I really, truly do. A sociopath. And I feel that he became obsessed with Sue Opper the same way that he's been obsessed his whole life with Erika Patterson. What do you think?